What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And of course, we are into the month of March already in 2025. And we're going to have a look at the tier list. And of course, this is coming off of the start, at least, of the worldwide anniversary, featuring the brand new units, of course, down the bottom here, which have been added to the tier list, which is these guys right here, with Luffy, Zoro, Kaku. But also, this new tier list for this month is going to be featuring all of these characters on the bottom row. So we got Sentomaru, who debuted for the PvP Sugo Fest. We've got Buggy, who came out for the Treasure Map Sugo Fest. The Kizuna Sugo Fest was the Chopper and Robin. Super Evolution for Quick Kuzan. And then we had the new units for the Worldwide Anniversary. And then also the latest PvP legend to come out, which was Edward Weevil. Decided to include him in this month's tier list, even though, you know, it's kind of a weird one because it means next month we probably won't have a Rumble legend in this video. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Depends on when they actually plan on releasing the next Rumble banner. But either way, we're going to go ahead and do this, of course. And remember, the way that we're doing our tier list is we're going to be listing them just the top 20. We're not going to be doing every character in a list. It just gets a little too convoluted, honestly. So we're going to do a top 20. I have my top 20 on the side here. We're going to go ahead and go line by line from 16 to 20 is going to be our first one. So the first character on this list is relatively unchanged. I'm going to go ahead and make it a little bit smaller so I can actually grab these icons a little bit easier. Sai Momonosuke is going to be my first character here in the 20th position. Now, the next character here, we'll talk more about him as we pick them all up. I want to pick up all the characters first. Just have to find them on this list. The next one is going to be Robin and Jinbei, which I think a lot of people are going to be surprised about, but we'll talk more about him as we get there. Zoro and Kaku are going to be featured here as the 17th position. The next one is going to be Int Sabo from the New Year celebration. This guy just continues to see a bunch of play. And then the next one, I think, is a bit of a wild card that I don't think many people would have on their list, but this character, Nami and Carrot, just continuously sees a bunch of play. So let's go ahead and get started. We have Momonosuke here, of course, and he's been featured in a couple of the tier lists throughout the last couple of months. I just think as a beginner player, if you have this guy, he's going to make your life a whole lot easier. Of course, the captain ability is the main draw to this unit, being able to give you cooldown reduction, the launching of his special so you can wave clear, being able to resist bind basically is incredibly good. And he's also an EXP captain. So this is like one of the best beginner characters in the game. Great special in terms of utility, gives you an attack boost for multiple turns. This character is generically really, really good. And obviously in co-op quest just sees a bunch of play. So I really like Momo. Now, Robin and Jinbei, I think, is a bit of a weird one. So I made another tier list about, like, a few months ago, obviously, before we did the top 20 thing, when we did the list basically on, like, how useful is a particular character, how much play does a character see. And Robin and Jinbei was actually pretty high up on that list, because it's actually really funny when this character first dropped. Everyone absolutely hated this unit, and no one wanted them. But as time kind of went on, this character has aged wonderfully for many, many reasons. Great classes, great type. Captain ability is the weakest component of this character. You're never using them as a captain, but the switch ability is quite solid for damage reduction and getting healing and getting matching slots. But then the special just does so much, being able to remove damage threshold and rainbow shield by 6 turns, attack down also by 6 turns, resisting 2 turns of special reverse, whilst also completely restoring their special reverse on themselves, the base attack boost, and then combining into the dual form. And then their potential abilities, they have the shipbind duration. If they had fear reduction, it would be like almost a perfect unit. This character, despite the fact it doesn't really do a hell of a lot, the switch ability and special have amazing utility. And one of the great things about this unit that I think kind of goes unspoken a lot of the time is this character has absolutely god tier supports that you can put on them. Robin has some of the best supports in the game, and anytime Robin gets a new character in the game, you know, it's a big deal because, you know, they get access to some of the best supports in the game. So shout out to Robin and Jinbei, phenomenal character, super underrated, I feel. Now, next is Zoro. Kaku have made a plenty of videos talking about this guy since he's come out, obviously. His character's just really good. He doesn't really have any conditions with his kit, which makes him really easy to inject into a lot of teams. So I really like that about him. The getting access to the EX Super could be a little bit annoying because of the amount of characters that you need on your crew in order to get access to it. Albeit, the Super Special isn't the end-all, be-all. You don't have to have it to make this character good. He's just going to be a nice character that not only gives you a little bit of utility, but also gives you like pretty solid damage increasing abilities too. Next is Sabo. I mean, that's not the right one. Sabo, dude, this character, it's so funny because again, like when this character came out, everyone was kind of like, you know, he's kind of good in some certain situations, but the fact that he has been boosted in so much content, like moving forward, is the main reason why this character, in my opinion, is as high as what he is, because he's very niche. Because if there is a piece of content where his advantageous class effect can be used to its fullest effect, he is like one of the best characters in the game. But the fact that that content is not going to be happening all that often is a big deal. But of course, Sabo gets access to great utility in terms of dealing with Special Bind, dealing with Burn, and then also potentially giving you some other effects as well. But mainly you're going to be using him to deal with the Special Bind, Burn, and also with his EX Super, which is relatively easy to activate. Granting you a full board of tandem slots has been super valuable moving forward. Whenever they release, you know, Fighter Batch, Cerebral Batch, or an Int Batch, this is going to be a guy you probably want to gravitate towards. So yeah, Sabo, as long as he is useful in content, he's going to keep making it onto this list. And then Nami and Kara, which is another one of these units very similar to Robin and Jinbei that I think a lot of people will overlook. But this character just continuously sees play, like really good in treasure maps, of course, this character being boosted in every single TM. And the fact that treasure maps have so many different gimmicks that you have to deal with these days, having a character that can deal with bind, special bind, burn, healing, full border matching slots, chain boundary, and then also Nami Carrot also get access to very good support effects. Like it's super valuable too. So yeah, I really like what they're doing with this unit. This unit is very, very good, sees a lot of play, and I think that this is a little bit more of a well-rounded version of the tier list where, you know, obviously we got the high-end units, which we all kind of know, but also, like, these units see a way more play than the units that I had in last month, like, between 16 and 20, in my personal opinion. So, let's go ahead and move on now to the next 5. Alright, so we're going to move on to the 11 to 15 range. The first character that's going to be the 15th position, a character that a lot of people have been calling for, and yeah, I kind of agree. Int Oiran Yamato definitely deserves to be here. Moving on to the next character. Again, it's so hard to see where all the characters are. Cross Guild. So Cross Guild is moving up a little bit because I did move some of the characters around, move some characters away, so kind of just naturally bumped them up. So I do definitely believe that, you know, Cross Guild is one of the best legends in the game, like super valuable, really good in a lot of content. The one after that is going to be Toki. I think Toki is also just a super underrated character. A lot of people will still find a lot of ways to use them because they're just a really, really strong unit to use in a lot of content. Next is going to be Shanks and Kid, mainly because Shanks is just such a beast at what he does. Really powerful unit that can enhance your damage by a very significant portion. And then finally is going to be another one of the New Year's characters, which is going to be the Strength Monkey D. Luffy as my number 11 position on the tier list. So let's talk about the first one here, which is Int Oiran Yamato. A lot of people have been calling for this character to be on my tier list, and it's just the fact that I personally don't use this character that much. I can definitely understand why people would gravitate to a character such as this, and I will say this character was actually pretty good in the most recent Kizuna clash that did come up. The character's got pretty good class and type combinations, and the special ability is the unique portion here. Being able to select one debuff on your crew, remove it by 7 turns, that's like a really sick effect, right? Like there's just not a lot of characters in the game that can do that, but the fact that she does that on top of providing potentially an attack boost and an orb boost, potentially giving you a color affinity boost, and then also the percent damage reduction based attack boost is another really cool thing that this character has. Just another way to enhance your damage that is very hard to overlap with. Like there's really, like, again, not a lot of characters that give you damage reduction focused attack boost, and if they do, it's typically a Yamato character. So yeah, Int Oiran Yamato, very, very cool character, and I definitely understand why people use this character. I will say though that like the captain ability is super interesting. I really wish that it was easier to activate like all of these abilities at once, but you have to run a full team of characters that are both cerebral and free spirit to get all the utility on this character's captain ability, which is not going to happen all that often, but if you can build a team around that, it's quite good. It adds a lot of value to your squad. So Cross Guild is the next one on the list, and look, like, to be honest, we've talked about this character extensively on the YouTube channel. I absolutely love this unit. This character's got so much going for him. I don't really think I need to touch on this guy all that much. The special ability is so good, being able to use it multiple times per turn or quest. The character just adds like so much freaking damage. It's so good. Toki is the next one though. This character is always made it onto my tier list. This character is really good. The Toki effect that she provides, being able to apply that to 2 characters for 2 turns, basically making them immune to every debuff in the game. it's incredibly powerful, and especially with how good captain abilities are these days, being able to just select 2 units that receive the 3.5 times attack and orb boost, typically that is enough to get through most content in the game. The only thing it probably wouldn't allow you to do is like maybe high levels of Super Boss Kizuna, but even then, this character has still seen play in Super Boss Kizunas where just your big like end final tap or big end damage dealing rush, it just gets the buff from Toki, and it's more than enough damage to get, you know, through to that potentially trillion level. So yeah, Toki is just a god, man. This character is incredible. The next one is Shanks and Kid. Shanks and Kid mainly just because Shanks is such a beast with what he does, being able to provide double stacking conditional boost and the weakened conditional boost, which he then applies with his versus ability, which is again like another really good effect. And the captain ability, this guy's okay. I wish this character was a little bit more easier to use. This character is basically centered around Kizuna Clash because a lot of their gauges are just way too high, like their versus gauge in particular, which is a very key component to their builds working as they are. And their gauge is way too high. But of course, in a Kizuna Clash, it gets automatically charged for them. But in normal content, it's really difficult to use this guy. But if you are able to do it, like he just adds so much damage to your squad. Plus, in terms of just the theme, the visuals, this character's like top level. He's super, super cool. So we're gonna move on to the last one here, which is the Strength Luffy. And like very similar to the in Sabo, like the character's being boosted in so much content recently. Just so good to be using him. Great captain ability when you can get it to work, of course, when you get to that Gear 5 state, even the Snake Man state. If you can at least get it to Gear 5, Gear 4 Snake Man, you're going to be in a good spot. And then the special ability, which, man, dude, the combo of the super special and this special is like so good, dude. Being able to apply so much damage, like the weakness debuff and up to a 3 times increased damage taken. And then if you're able to use this with Sabo together, granting the 10 turns end of turn healing to then get a 3 times conditional boost on top of it, like, bro, it's just so much damage. This guy by himself just adds so much, and it's partly the reason why I have him so high, because there's just no one that can simply do what he does, applying both weakness and increased damage taken to the levels that he does, plus providing that massive conditional boost. Like, this guy is a beast. He just does so much damage. But of course, his final tap's not very good, and we inevitably get more and more Luffys. I just think that there are a lot of other better characters in the game that are going to be more easier to use, better and more content. But as for right now, considering how much content he is being boosted on, it really helps him in terms of being on this tier list, in terms of how high I have him. Of course, he's a Super Sugo Fest exclusive. By the time the next Super Sugo comes out, which is the 11th anniversary, is this guy even going to be on here? Well, we'll have to wait and see. We'll see. But overall, this is where I have my my 11 to 20th position characters right now. All right, so we're going to make it to the top 10 right now. Let's go ahead and get into it. In the number 10 position, I have Uta. Of course, this includes all forms of Uta. I mean, man, I love that character so much. Uta is just so good. She just continues to see play, man. And if you don't think she deserves to be on this list, then I just think you're a silly Billy. You're just a goose, because you just don't understand how this game works, man. And Uta is just a god. Next one after that is going to be Nami and Karina. I mean, honestly, if I could see the argument for having them potentially being a top 5 legend. Like, that's how good Nami and Karina are. Personally, I wouldn't have them that high. But, I mean, they're so good. I use them all the time. I use them basically every TM. Goldie Roger, this guy, his power level's crazy. I mean, he is basically on the level of a Super Sugo Fest exclusive. Like, that's how good this guy is. He's better than most characters in the game. He's just so freaking powerful, man. On top of that, next to him is going to be, if I can find them, it's going to be Kaido and Luffy. Kaido and Luffy, still very, very good character. I just personally haven't found that much content to actually use that character on, but I mean, you can't disregard what they're doing. Same with Versus Blackbeard. Man, Versus Blackbeard is such a beast, man. So this is my top 5 to 10 for the Treasure Cruise tier list this month. And this, I believe, is the exact same top 5 to 10 that I had last month. Actually, this should be 6 to 10, my bad. I apologize, chat. But yeah, this is what I have. I mean, we could go through Uta, man. Like, Uta, I talk about her like every tier list, man. I just think if you don't think this character is on the level of where I have this character, I don't really understand what I can say to really tip you over the edge, because this character is just insane. This captain ability effect, being able to resist paralysis and special reverse by 10 turns, you guys have no idea how good that is, man. If you guys just don't think it's good, I literally don't know what to say to you, man. And then the turn progress activated effect. There's been so many times where this has just been insane. Like, you can just not even have to rely on building your team with attack and orb boost in mind when this character's on your team, because this character provides attack and orb boost for multiple stages, and you just don't have to worry about it. Like, so many Kizuna clashes, because a lot of Kizunas, I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but a lot of Kizunas that have come out, they kind of focus on cerebral, and like this character, when a new Kizuna comes out and it's cerebral focused or striker focused, boom, this character is just the best unit for it. Again, as I said, you just don't have to worry about your attack and orb boost. This character covers it for you. Fantastic utility captain, and that's basically it, right? That's basically it. And of course, you got the two versions of Uta. You got this one, you got the quick one as well, which can provide you with the shooter focused boost, where this is or striker focused boost. It just depends on what you want at the time. But yeah, Uta, man, just literally one of the best legends in the game. Nami Karina, I mean, if you have this unit, you guys know exactly what this character is all about. I mean, this is not a Rumble tier list, of course, but in Rumble, they're one of the best characters in Rumble as well. Just so versatile is the best way to describe this unit. Extremely versatile. You can use it in a bunch of different circumstances. Gets around a bunch of content. Dupe dropping, of course, which is very, very valuable. And then the artwork obviously is fantastic too. So Nami Karina can't really if this character isn't in your top 10, I think you're a goose. Roger, another one of the best legends in the game, of course. This character is so powerful. Great captain ability. Very good if you're a beginner player. Very similar to Momonosuke. We talked about him a little bit earlier in the video. But the EXP and berry boosts, the special bind removal in the captain ability, and then cooldown reduction. And then if you have him as your dedicated captain, being able to get a 2.75 times attack boost, orb boost, and color affinity boost for 2 turns that cannot be removed by the enemy or your own effects. And then if you have the EX super, you can extend it so it's a 3-turn buff that can't be removed. Plus, he gives himself a guaranteed tandem slot, and the tandem can trigger you through one tap. A one-tap super tandem for a 2.25 boost if you have it maxed out. Like, whew, man, just everything about this unit is designed perfectly. Very, very powerful unit. And then as the last two, of course, we've got Kaido and Luffy. Both versions of these units are great. They're both great in their own facets. The only real downside, I would say, to this unit is if you use Luffy, you have to use full team of Free Spirit to get the most out of him, and Kaido, you have to run a full team of Driven. That's the only thing. Like, it's not very flexible. And I guess the only other bad thing for this unit is the fact that Kaido's super tandem is pretty bad. Luffy's final tap is very good though. But like, other than that, that's really just the only downsides. Everything else is complete upside. Like, Kaido's got fantastic utility. Luffy's got good utility. They've both got fantastic damage output as well. You can't disregard them. And then this one's tough to really argue with, because like, I can understand why people wouldn't have this guy that high, but I can also understand having this guy really high as well. It just depends on how much you value Versus Blackbeard. I think personally, Versus Blackbeard is one of the best legends that's come out in the last like few years. Very, very well designed unit, but it's such a shame that he's next to Law, because like, I think Law is a really clunky unit. I've even tried using him with some of the characters that I pulled recently, like the new Sword Legend and even the Quick Kuza that came out alongside this guy, and the team is just really weird, man. Like, strikers are just a really odd team. So I'm not really the biggest fan of him, but Blackbeard carries Powerhouse pretty hard. Really, really cool unit, especially alongside like Kaido and King, or Katakuri and Big Mom. Really good team you can build alongside them. But yeah, Blackbeard's a really cool character. I'm a big fan of him personally. The HP guard mechanic is obviously a really good mechanic, and really, really strong and hard to replace in a lot of teams. So this is how we have it right now for the 6 to 10 position. And then for the top 5, it's unchanged from last month. I mean, I think people would probably argue the most about the Psy Luffy. Of course, this is both including his 6-star and his 6-star plus. The thing is, though, is that 6-star Luffy is just really, really good in everything. Again, co-op quest, if you're running co-op quest, you're probably going to be using Psy Luffy, potentially. I mean, some people I know are running teams with this guy instead. I personally use the team with Psy Gear 5 Luffy. I really like being able to bypass defensive effects, the special reverse resistance, the bind resistance, and the ability when you become Gear 5 to remove 1 turn of enemy beneficial effects. That, in combination with a debuff style captain in co-op quest, being able to remove 2 enemy defensive effects or enemy beneficial effects in 1 turn, is so valuable, man. It's super good. But I can definitely understand why people wouldn't have Psy Gear 5 in like the top 5 anymore. If we're talking like just pure damage potential, yeah, this character is not a top 5 worthy level character, but it's the ease of use, it's the accessibility, because if you're starting a new account, you can get Side Gear 5, I believe, from the beginner Sugo Fest. Like, you should just get this guy because he's just going to help you clear the game, basically. Side Gear 5 is really, really strong, of course. And, of course, we're talking about, like the 6-star version particularly. It's unfortunate because the 6-star plus, I really like the artwork for the 6-star plus. Unfortunately, this character was basically, you know, you use him for, like, a couple of months when the Super Boss Kizuna allowed you to do it, you know, with his rainbow potential, rainbow rush, which is super sick. And when it worked, when he came out, it was really, really fun to use. But of course, we get better and better Luffys over time, and this character, unfortunately, has fallen out of love. The next one, though, is the Int Luffy. Out of the 10th Anniversary Legends, I use Int Luffy the least, unfortunately. But it is what it is. I mean, Int Luffy's still really good because all these 10th Anniversary units, they're all similarly designed, but they're all relatively different at the same time, but they're all like top level units, and I'm kind of surprised that these units have held on for as long as they have. These units are just so freaking good, man. So personally, I would rank Luffy as like the least favorable out of the 3 10th Anniversary Legends. The thing that really helps him, though, that's kind of unique about him, is that he has the ability to make the int slots become unable to change the type slots and block slots for 2 turns. So when you use his special to get the int slots, you can't change those int slots into other type slots for 2 turns. Like, that's a really unique ability, and that can sometimes help you out in really niche circumstances. Like, that's a really big thing, and like, that's the draw factor to Luffy. And of course, Luffy with his captain ability, he resists despair by 10 turns. We move on to Shanks. Shanks, with him, he removes bind in his captain ability and also sets the ship special to max, which, again, could be kind of useful for him. And then, like, the draw factor to him, of course, is the barrier removal, the rainbow shield removal, the size slots, the color affinity boost, and all that kind of thing. Really, really cool character. And, of course, Cerebral's a great class, so helps out for sure. And then Ace. Ace is definitely the best out of them, and I mean, when we first saw the abilities of these units, I mean, I think a lot of people had the same idea, like, yeah, Ace just straight up looks the best with him because of his like EX super and special being able to give you attack and or boost, and then you've got the special reverse resistance, which is one of the best utility effects to have as a captain. And then his special is really cool at not only giving cooldown reduction but also paralysis removal, damage nullification by 3 turns. Like, that just is not a common thing to come across. And then the full board of slots and all the other good stuff. So yeah, Ace is very, very good, and I think he is the best of the 10th Annie units. And then no surprise, Luffy and Sanji. Zoro and Sanji is the best unit in the game still. No changes have been made since last month, and I don't think anything's going to change next month either in March. I don't think anything's going to change in April. However, when May rolls around, potentially we will hopefully see something that will dethrone Zoro and Sanji. One of the things, though, is that whenever we get a new Super Boss Kizuna, it definitely seems like they're trying to make Zoro and Sanji less and less valuable in these events. But even if, like, hypothetically Zoro and Sanji fall out of love in a Super Boss Kizuna sense, this character's still going to see play in basically every content ever. Like, if you're building a team to take on an arena, or you're taking on like a training forest or something, or one of the GARP challenges, if you can put this guy on your team, you should probably put him on your team because he's so freaking powerful. And of course, in Co-op Quest, he is like a stock standard unit to use in Co-op Quest 2. So that's it, guys. That is the tier list for the month of February. Moving into, well, it's actually, this is the March tier list technically. We'll have the April tier list technically next month, and then very much looking forward to seeing what we see, you know, when the anniversary rolls around. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about this one down below in the comment section. I'm actually quite happy with how this tier list turned out. I don't think I'd change anything at the moment. This looks pretty solid overall. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully you agree. If you guys did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.